Welcome to Comfort Home Health Emergency Management Training. In this video, we'll equip you with the knowledge and skills necessary to respond effectively in emergencies and disasters. Let's start with our objectives. By the end of this training, you will be able to distinguish between emergencies and disasters, understand the importance of patient education and disaster preparedness, conduct risk assessment and hazard vulnerability analysis, implement emergency policies and procedures, activate and deactivate emergency plans, identify key staff roles, develop patient care plans, promote patient and staff preparedness, establish effective communication during emergencies, prepare essential car supplies, coordinate office staff, task, and use CareFicient effectively. Respond to emergency notifications. Assess patient risk. Prioritize patient care based on risk levels. And utilize a call tree effectively. Let's begin by understanding the difference between emergencies and disasters. Knowing this difference is crucial for effective emergency management. Emergencies are situations that require immediate attention. They are typically localized events, meaning they affect a specific area or organization. In response to emergencies, we usually initiate a rapid localized response to address the issue promptly. Emergencies are often of shorter duration, meaning they are quickly resolved. On the other hand, disasters are characterized by their widespread and severe disruption. They impact a larger area or region and require a coordinated, multi level response to manage the scale of the crisis. Unlike emergencies, disasters can have a long lasting recovery phase, which means they may take more time to fully recover from. So, why is it important to distinguish between the two? Understanding whether we're dealing with an emergency or a disaster helps us tailor our response. Emergencies often require immediate localized action, while disasters demand a more extensive and coordinated effort due to their larger scope and longer recovery period. By recognizing this difference, we can allocate resources and respond effectively, ensuring the safety and well being of both our staff and patients during challenging times. Now that we understand the difference between emergencies and disasters, let's delve into the critical role of patient education in disaster preparedness. Educating patients ensure they can actively participate in their own safety and care during emergencies. Patient education should include all kinds of disasters. Disasters can be broadly categorized into natural and man made. Natural disasters are events that occur due to natural processes and can include hurricanes, earthquakes, floods, wildfires, and tornadoes. Man made disasters are events primarily caused by human actions, including industrial accidents, terrorist attacks, cyber attacks, and infrastructure failures. Patient education is vital because disasters, whether natural or man made, can be sudden and chaotic. When patients are informed and prepared, they can know evacuation routes and procedures, understand how to take shelter or protect themselves, ensure a supply of essential medications, know how to reach out for help or check in with healthcare providers, understand how to manage health conditions during crisis. By educating our patients about specific risk and preparedness measures related to various disasters, we empower them to take an active role in their safety and well being. It's a fundamental step in ensuring that our patients are resilient and able to cope with the challenges that disaster may bring. In this section, we'll explore risk assessment, a fundamental step in emergency management. It's the process of identifying, evaluating, and understanding potential hazard or risk that could impact your organization or community during emergencies. It's like making a list of what could go wrong so that you can plan how to prevent or respond to those challenges effectively. Why is risk assessment important? Risk assessment is crucial because it serves several key purposes. First, it helps us prevent or lessen the impact of potential disasters. It's like getting ahead of the game to keep people safe and minimize damage. Second, it forms a basis of creating emergency plans that fit our unique risks so our responses are right on target. Lastly, it ensures we use our resources wisely, making sure we have what we need just when we need it most. Once we've assessed risk, we need a way to prioritize them. That's where hazard vulnerability analysis comes in. Hazard vulnerability analysis, or HVA, is a systematic way to score and prioritize risk based on their likelihood and potential impact. It helps us focus our preparedness efforts where they matter most. Now, let's talk about how to score risk. We use a method known as hazard vulnerability analysis to assess the score risk. Here's how it works. First, by identifying the potential hazard that could affect your organization or community, these can include natural disasters like hurricanes or man made events like power outages. Second, measure the probability and vulnerability of each hazard. Assign scores for each category: high, moderate, or low risk. Each level corresponds to a score from 1 to 3. Third, consider the potential impact of each hazard. Assign scores based on the potential disruption that it could cause. Fourth, evaluate your agency's level of preparation for each hazard. Assess whether if it's poor, fair, or good. And lastly, calculate the total score for each hazard by adding the scores from likelihood, vulnerability, and agency preparation. A higher total score indicates a higher priority for risk assessment and planning. Let's consider an example of assessing the risk of hurricane at Comfort Home Health. For step 1, we need to identify the hazards. In this situation, that would be the potential arrival of a hurricane. For step 2A, you need to assess the likelihood of the hurricane. Give the score of 1 if the region rarely have hurricanes, a 2 if it happens occasionally, and 3 if the hurricane is frequent. For step 2B, you need to evaluate the vulnerability of Comfort Home Health to a hurricane. Give a score of 1 for low risk, meaning Comfort Home Health is well prepared with hurricane resistant infrastructure and equipment safeguard, 2 for moderate risk, and 3 for high risk. For step 3, you need to evaluate the hurricane. If it can disrupt operations, damage equipments, or pose health risk to patients. Give 1 for low risk, 2 for moderate risk, and 3 for high risk. For step 4, you need to assess the level of preparation for a hurricane. Give a score of 1 for poor, 2 for fair, and 3 for good. Now, let's calculate the total score by adding the scores from likelihood, vulnerability, and agency preparation. In this example, with high likelihood, 3, high vulnerability, 3, and a good preparation, 3, the total score is 9. Based on the total score of 9, a hurricane presents a high priority risk that demands careful assessment and planning. Comfort Home Health should focus its resources on developing and implementing a comprehensive hurricane response plan, improving infrastructure safeguards, and conducting regular training to mitigate the potential impact of a hurricane effectively. This example demonstrates how risk assessment guides our preparedness by prioritizing threats like hurricanes based on likelihood, vulnerability, and readiness. Conducting hazard vulnerability analysis and risk scoring helps us identify and prioritize critical risk, enhancing our emergency management efforts. Remember, risk assessment is continuous, requiring regular reviews and updates to address evolving threats. Let's now focus on another vital aspect: the policies and procedures in emergency management. Staff receives disaster preparedness training during orientation and annually. Management regularly reviews safety conditions during disasters. Staff must update corporate office every 3 hours and monitor radio or TV stations. Staff and patients are contacted via call tree, email, or text messages. Scheduling coordinators prioritize patient visits. All patients are contacted to assess safety, limiting visits to essential ones. Immediate care arrangements are made for critical patients during the SOC. The closest nurse provide care during disasters. Post drill evaluations identify strengths and weaknesses for improvement. Now, let's see how policies and procedures are put into action. Emergency plans are practical guidelines for various situations. Here, we'll cover the activation and the deactivation process. Incident Commander Authority. The Director of Nursing, Administrator, or the COO serves as the incident commander and has the authority to activate or deactivate the emergency preparedness plan based on the available information indicating the need. Our goal is to ensure seamless transition of patient services and maintain continuity of care for all patients served by the agency. In case the corporate office becomes unusable due to the emergency, the administrator's office will serve as a temporary office. Some office employees may work remotely until the office can reopen. Throughout the emergency, the administrator and the director of nursing will have access to essential communication tools and resources, including battery operated radios and TVs, cell phones, an emergency generator, and the government agency telecommunication service cards. With the plan in place, it's essential to know the roles and responsibility of key staff members during emergencies. During emergencies, various staff members play critical roles. Understanding these roles are crucial for effective response and patient care. Hurricane Watch Coordinator monitors hurricane alerts and updates and communicates relevant information to the team. Incident Commander receives patient census separated by triage levels, coordinates patient distribution with designated personnel. Office Security Team. They secure the office before leaving for safety. Post contact information at the door. Communication coordinators share command center contact information with all clinicians. Initiate the call tree for their respective areas. Patient contact and reporting. Call and confirm emergency plans with assigned patients. Document all interactions immediately in CareFicient. In case of patient refusal to evacuate, document safety and hurricane preparation education. Encourage evacuation, respecting patient choices. Unreachable patient notification. If unable to reach a patient, document the attempt and message status. Notify the Director of Nursing immediately. Alternate command centers will be announced by the DON or administrator. Please note the office will reopen as soon as it is safe. In emergencies, different staff members have vital roles, essential for effective response and patient care. These roles guarantee efficient coordination, patient safety, and accurate documentation. With the grasp of these roles, let's move on to patient care planning. Patient care planning guarantees that we meet our patients' needs in emergencies, involving assessments and tailored plans. Equally significant is patient preparedness. Let's discuss how we can assist our patient in getting ready. On admission, admitting clinicians assign priority level, evacuation zone, and emergency plan during start of care. Completes the disaster level with a comprehensive plan and alternate contact information. Patient preparedness directs patients to a list of items to prepare and have readily available as per Appendix B. Register patients requiring power for life support equipment with local utility companies and emergency offices. Ensures that every patient and their family receive education to help them manage emergencies effectively. Ensure patient with heart disease or respiratory issues who have no one to rely on have a safe place to go. Obtain emergency contacts to maintain communication with patients. Insulin administration for ALFs. ALF clinicians are responsible for insulin administration during emergencies. If they cannot, the facility takes over this duty. They must also confirm with the ALF management their willingness to administer insulin during disasters and provide POC details. Ensure insulin and needles availability and store them securely. For specific facilities like Vineyard Inn and Me's Life, they will be coordinated by a designated staff. Try to visit wound care patients before a hurricane and tell ALFs to offer basic first aid or tend to wounds and leave supplies if required. Wound care patients. For level 1 patients, confirm evacuation plans and supply list, including portable oxygen, and provide POC at the start of disaster warning. Ensure all patients' medical supplies are labeled with their name, vendor name, and contact number. Patient preparedness is about empowering our patients to take an active role in their own safety and well being during emergencies. It's a critical aspect of our care. Patients must prepare for 96 hours with enough food, water, and medication. They should bring their admission booklet with updated triage levels, medical profiles, physician details, and emergency contacts. Review disaster education in booklet with patients and caregivers. Instruct them on using flags or signs at the door stored near the front door. Keep flu and pneumonia shots up to date, especially for elderly with weaker immune systems during pandemics. Check the admission booklets for emergency supplies, including enough lighting to avoid falls and outages. Stress the importance of having a 7-day medication supply. Tell patients to store sturdy shoes and socks under the bed in a Ziploc bag. Tell patients to gather financial accounts list, insurance policies, titles, and VA information. Make sure patients know where emergencies exits are. When admitted, inform the power company if you use oxygen, vents, pumps, or other medical equipments. Use OASIS coding for clinical risk to assess the likelihood of clinical exacerbation. Use OASIS coding for enhanced risk during outside emergencies to assess patient independence with medication, oxygen, and competent caregivers. Now, let's move on from patient preparedness to clinician and aide preparedness. Staff readiness is key. Let's talk about how clinicians and aides can get ready to provide top notch care in emergencies. Clinicians and aides should be ready for 96 hours, prioritizing their family's safety. They must promptly contact the agency command center in their county through phone, text, or email while ensuring their own well being. They also need to safeguard their patients. Get cell phone chargers, battery chargers, or solar chargers ready. Know how to use FEMA communication flag kits or evacuation signs. Think about having GMRS two-way radios with a 2 to 10-mile range. Carry a copy of your clinical license or company ID for identification in emergencies. Keep your gas tank at least half full. Stay current on vaccination flus like tetanus, shingles, and pneumonia. Moving on to practical car supplies. Let's ensure you're well prepared while on the move. Stock your vehicle with water, high energy bars, shelter items, and basic aid supplies, including biohazard bags. Don't forget emergency cash, a long life flashlight, spare batteries, a solar charger, a hazard light. Keep a first aid kit with N95 mask and hand sanitizers handy, along with extra sticky post it notes and a pen for messages. Lastly, include gloves and a pair of work gloves for hand protection, and consider a portable radio with various charging options. To ensure smooth operations during emergencies, office staff collaboration and the effective use of Care Efficient are vital. Our team's seamless coordination is crucial for patient safety and maintaining care continuity. While our field staff are in the front lines, office staff provides essential support and help uphold critical operations. Office staff's crucial task includes generating patient demographics, reports for the director of nursing and administrator, aiding information decision making. They also produce essential automated reports like service notes, patients' fact sheets, and disaster plans. These reports facilitate field staff and management in accessing vital information. Office staff play a pivotal role in maintaining communication between field staff, management, and patients during emergencies. In case the corporate office is unusable, the administrator's office serves as a temporary workplace, and some employees may work remotely until normal operations can resume. This unified approach ensures the continuity of our mission to deliver exceptional care in all circumstances. In Appendix B, patient will find vital information for their safety and preparedness during emergencies. This resources, conveniently located in their admission pocket, offers essential guidance to ensure they are well informed and ready to face any unforeseen situation. If the patient has a caregiver, the caregiver must accompany the patient and remain with them at the special needs shelter. When evacuating to a special needs shelter, patients should remember to bring essential items to sustain them for 72 hours. These includes bedding materials like sheets, blankets, pillows, and air mattresses, a 72-hour supply of prescription and non-prescription medication, non-perishable food, gallons of water, at least one per person per day, personal hygiene items, and extra clothing for 72 hours. Additionally, they should have a flashlight with spare batteries, entertainment or recreational items like books or games, identification with a current address, and any required medical equipment or assistive devices. It's also important to carry their phones with emergency contact, a copy of their plan of care, and a small amount of cash for emergencies. Caregivers accompanying patients will have a floor space provided but must bring their own beddings. Service dogs are allowed in the shelter. Check with your local emergency management office regarding other pets. Patients should bring personal snacks, drinks, and any special dietary food for 72 hours as sparse meal may be provided. Caregiver who regularly assist the patient at home are expected to continue providing the same care in the shelter. Being prepared and informed is essential during emergencies. By following these guidelines and having the necessary items on hand, you can ensure your safety and well being in a special needs shelter. Now that we've equipped you with this information, let's discuss the actions to take once the emergency notification is received. Do not leave your home unless you are evacuating or have received your assignment. When you receive a call with your assignment, please refrain from asking questions. This will help maintain the efficiency of calling and response times during the emergency. Rest assured, when you receive your assignment, you will receive all the necessary information about the emergency and those affected. It's important to wear your name tag to ensure easy recognition by other cooperating agencies and team members. To ensure uninterrupted communication, please stay off the phone so that your second call can come through without any issues. When an emergency notification is received, it's essential to know how to respond promptly and effectively. We'll cover the steps you should take in this critical phase. If you're away from home when an emergency happens, call the corporate office to let us know that you're available to help. You will receive an assignment at that time. If there's no working telephones, make your way to a triage site closest to your location for assignment. Management will be present at the site and all assignments will be made from there. Once you've assessed the situation, you'll need to prioritize patient care based on risk levels. Let's explore this in our next section. Level 1 high risk patients. These patients need uninterrupted services due to the absence of available caregivers. They include bed-bound or chair-bound individuals with physical assistance needs, patients unable to self-administer daily medications like injections, and those requiring specialized care like wound care or infusion therapy. Let's take a look at this example situation. Imagine a level 1 patient, Susan, who is bedbound and require daily wound care due to surgical incisions. She cannot administer medications herself and does not have any family members available. In an emergency, every possible effort must be made to see Susan. Level 2 moderate risk patients. These patients need assistance but can manage temporarily. They may use assistive devices or are stable with medical equipment. Examples include those stable with medication administration, reasonably managed chronic diseases, and visits that can be postponed for up to 3 days without harm. Let's take a look at Sarah, a level 2 patient with a stable chronic condition, requiring medication reminders, uses a nebulizer for breathing treatments. In an emergency, her care can be postponed briefly, but she will always need assistance with medication and her nebulizer. Level 3 low risk patients. Low risk patients are stable and have informal support. They often have family or caregiver support systems in place. Examples include patients with less complicated wound care, those who are mobile and independent, and those who manage their medications. Let's now examine Emily, a level 3 patient, has a supportive family and manages her diabetes independently. Her care can be safely managed by her family for a longer period if needed. Level 4 lowest risk patients. These patients can evacuate or manage without agency assistance. They have willing and able caregivers available or are fully independent in most activities of daily living. Visits for these patients can be postponed for 72 hours or more with minimal adverse effect. Consider Mary, an independent and mobile individual with no significant medical conditions. In an emergency, Mary can manage without agency assistance for an extended period. Her caregiving needs are minimal, allowing visits to be postponed for 72 hours or more with little or no adverse effect on her well being. In conclusion, by accurately assessing patients' risk and understanding these levels, we can prioritize care and resources. This ensures that those who need immediate attention receive it, while also maintaining support for patients who can manage for a short period during emergencies. Now, let's conclude with a final emphasis on communication, underlying its critical role in emergency response. Effective communication is at the heart of our emergency response efforts. It ensures that critical medical information is shared, patients are cared for appropriately, and our community partners are informed. For patients evacuating, it's vital to take their admissions booklet with an updated medication list. Plan of care or assignment of duty for aides should be readily accessible. Importantly, all information sharing must meet the requirements of Health Insurance Portability Accountability Act or HIPAA regarding patient privacy and confidentiality. Communication plan, Internal Agency Command Center. Clinicians should report patient status to the Comfort Home Health Agency according to their assigned triage level. This information is essential for prioritizing patient care. A quarterly updated list of patients' triage level is maintained by the clinical coordinator with immediate updates upon the first notice of a disaster warning. Be sure to report any patients you cannot contact. External community reporting. Using information communicated from agency staff, complete the disaster log. Document which local entity has been informed of the urgent needs of patients for evacuation. Assistance and disposition. This could include EMS, hospitals, evacuation centers, health departments, and more. Priority should be given to triage level 1 patients. In conclusion, effective communication is the thread that ties our emergency response together. It ensures that our patients receive the care they need, that community partners are informed, and that we can respond swiftly and effectively to any crisis. We're committed to upholding the highest standards of communication to safeguard the well being of our patients. In our emergency response efforts, we use a disaster communication form to efficiently capture and relay critical information about our patients. This form ensures that we have the necessary details to coordinate care and communication effectively during the disaster or emergency situation. The disaster communication form fields: patient name. It captures the name of the patient, providing a clear identifier of each individual. Current location. Here, we record the patient's current whereabouts during the emergency. Phone number. This field is vital for maintaining contact with the patient or their caregiver during the crisis. Notes. Any essential notes or specific information about the patient's condition or needs can be recorded in this section. Reported to or time. This part documents where and to whom the patient's information has been reported to, along with the timestamp of the report. This helps ensure that the right entities are informed promptly. Disposition. The disposition field indicates the planned course of action for the patient, such as evacuation, medical assistance, or further assessment. The disaster communication form is a critical tool in our emergency response procedure. It helps us maintain contact, share information, and coordinate care during challenging situations. Ensuring that this form is completed accurately and promptly is vital to our ability to respond effectively to emergencies and safeguard our patients' well being. Call tree guidelines. In our call tree guidelines, the process begins with the administrator or the director of nursing initiating the call down procedure. Clinicians then contact their patients in the order of priority, starting with level 1, followed by level 2, and then level 3 patients. If a patient cannot be reached, a message is left, and the call process proceeds to the next patient. If the patient remains unreachable, the office determines the appropriate course of action. Scheduling coordinators step in to schedule immediate visits for the patients requiring urgent attention. Finally, all results from this process are meticulously logged and reported to the management for further action and coordination. Let's look at this sample situation. Imagine it's a Sunday evening and a severe storm is approaching your area. The Comfort Home Health Agency has initiated the call tree process to ensure the safety of patients. As a clinician, here is your role. You receive a call from the administrator who informs you about the impending storm and the importance of reaching out to your assigned patients promptly. You're told to prioritize patients based on the triage level. You immediately start calling your patients. Your first call is to a level patient, Mr. Johnson, who require uninterrupted services. You successfully reach him, confirm his safety, and discuss any immediate need or concerns. You reassure him and document the conversation. After ensuring Mr. Johnson's well being, you proceed to call your level 2 patients, starting with Mrs. Smith. You reach her, and although she's anxious about the storm, she has a plan in place and feels safe. You document this conversation as well. You move on to your level 3 patients. While calling Mrs. Rodriguez, you find that she's already evacuated to a safer location with the help of her family. You confirm her whereabouts, commend her preparedness, and note the information. Unfortunately, one of your level 1 patients, Mr. Martinez, does not answer. You leave him a detailed message about the storm and your concerns. You then call the office to report the situation. You inform the office about the patients you've reached and their statuses. The office team decides to schedule immediate visits for Mr. Johnson, who requires uninterrupted care. You maintain a record of each call, noting patients' responses, safety statuses, and any specific need or instruction. This information will be shared at the office for further action. By following these steps, you ensure that your patients are checked on, informed, and provided with the necessary care and support during the storm, all while prioritizing their safety and well being. Congratulations! You've now completed the Comfort Home Health Emergency Management Training. Remember, being prepared can make a significant difference in the safety and well being of both our staff and patients during emergencies. Please proceed with the quiz to reinforce your knowledge. Thank you for your dedication to providing excellent care.